We reached the 30th day of the Oklahoma Opioid Trial in Week 7. I'm Dave Morris reporting for the Oklahoman outside the Cleveland County Courthouse in Norman, Oklahoma. And today it was an abbreviated schedule. We started at 9, ended around 1:30 or so. And we heard 4 video testimonies today. We heard from William Grubb, a Vice President of Global Business Development and Innovation for Noramco. Johnson & Johnson, the defendants in this case, used to own Noramco. We then heard from Richard Zimmer. He's the chief investigator at the Oklahoma Osteopathic Examiners. The longest video testimony, 1 hour and 45 minutes of Dr. Lynn Webster, an anesthesiologist and past president of the American Academy of Pain Medicine, perhaps best known for developing the Opioid Risk Tool. We also heard from Lawrence Carter, an investigator with the Oklahoma Medical Board, in testimony taped back in May. And here are the highlights of those 4 video testimonies. You can watch the full proceedings from today online at oklahoman.com.
And it's the thing that is killing people in this country. I'm asking you if that concerns you at all, and why you haven't made a judgment call about what Noramco is doing despite the fact that people are dying from the very product your company makes.
Yeah, so I'm going to continue just operating within what the DEA does to grant us quota and grant our customers procurement quota. What we do in Noramco in the API realm is strive to produce the absolute highest quality product that we can produce. And we report on that annually to the FDA as required by law. So that, to me, is my contribution to approved drugs, is that we're supplying the absolute highest quality material we can.
So, does Noramco bear any responsibility for the opioid addiction and overdose epidemic in the United States right now? Very simple question.
Yeah, so I will just say the answer is no. We specifically are producing what we are allowed to produce by the government. And they annually tell us how much we can produce. And we only sell to customers that they've also licensed and given quota to in order to supply drugs that have a medical benefit.
Have you been present at a board hearing where a doctor's license was revoked for one improper opioid prescription?
No.
Okay. And whether you're present or not, are you aware of any situation where a doctor had their license revoked for one improper opioid prescription?
No.
But there's no rule against it that you're aware of?
No.
The sales representative should understand the risks of opioids, correct?
I think that anyone involved in the field probably ought to have a good understanding of what the risks and benefits are.
You're aware that there is an opioid crisis in this country?
I know that we have an opioid problem, yes.
Well, what do you mean by opioid problem?
We have a lot of people using opioids that should not be using opioids. There are a lot of people who have developed an opioid use disorder, and too many people have died from opioids.
What is the rate of addiction for people taking opioids?
No one really knows. It's very low, and that may be accurate actually for a majority of people. The real key is to identify the subset of individuals where the risk is much higher, and that's harder to do.
So you said no one really knows. You said it's very low. That may be accurate, but there are certain individuals where the risk is higher.
Yes. Remember one individual that had been treating, he had back pain, he had had several back operations, and he came in and he was on what was considered a rather high dose at the time. I thought it was a high dose, and I didn't see that he was benefiting from that high dose. So I told him I was going to take his dose down. I took his dose down, and the next month he came in, and he said, "Doc, I just can't do it." I said, "I just can't see giving you the higher dose." So again, he didn't say much, but he said, "Doc, I just can't live with it." And I said, "No, we just have to stay at these lower doses," because I knew the consequences. If you were died of a heart attack, I'd be blamed for overdose. So I was thinking more of my protection, self-protection. But he goes home and he writes a note to his daughter. He says, "I can't live," and ends up killing himself because I tapered it. And today we're seeing a huge number of people who are being forced to be tapered off of their opioids and are committing suicide.
It's just a mechanism of action.
opioids have the potential to reduce pain, correct? Correct. And they also have the potential to cause addiction, correct? I don't believe drugs cause addiction. I think drugs facilitate addiction. Addiction is a biology problem, not a drug problem. So people who are genetically or environmentally vulnerable and exposed to a drug can develop the addiction. But just because you're exposed to a drug that is rewarding doesn't mean you're going to develop an addiction.
Do you know the amount of opioid medications did on a yearly basis by doctors that are monitored by the Oklahoma Medical Board?
That's unknowable.
And I think I might understand what you mean, but can you explain that part to me?
We only know what we know. There's no way to know what you don't know, what we never learned, and what we can't possibly know without knowing where to look and where to find it. And our agency is a complaint-driven agency, so which is very similar to the DO board and to the pharmacy board, I'm sure. So we get complaints from various sources, and that's what we know. We don't have the luxury of getting inside people's heads and knowing what they're about to do, or what they did and got away with. So we have to go back and look at only those things that we're able to prove to be able to bring that before the board. So I can't possibly know if every pill that a doctor prescribed was diverted or not. And usually it's not all or none, it's somewhere in the middle. So.
A little background for you. At the non-jury trial, the state is asking Cleveland County District Judge Thad Bachman to hold Johnson & Johnson and its subsidiaries accountable for an opioid crisis that has contributed to the deaths of about 7,000 Oklahomans. And the state wants the judge to order the companies to pay more than $17.5 billion to abate the crisis. Testimony is expected to resume Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Court to begin 9 a.m. on Thursday and on Friday. Closing arguments expected 2 hours each side on Monday. Our Randy Ellis is in the courtroom every day. You can follow his coverage online at oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman. And of course, you can watch live on oklahoman.com. I'm Dave Morris reporting for the Oklahoman outside the Cleveland County Courthouse in Norman, Oklahoma.